Hey guys, so it is like 10:30, 11 o'clock. I don't have my computer out here. On day one of the Cramthan. I'm not sure if I'm going to do daily vlogs as I have in the past, or if I'll just save it all for one big video at the end. We'll see how much content I have and how I'm feeling at the end of the day. So I've read the first two chapters of Lovelace and Babbage. It's actually different than I thought it was going to be. The first chapter is like the real story, which has a sad ending because they do not see their dream of developing a real computer. So the rest of the book takes place in a pocket universe where they do invent a computer and are awesome, presumably. And then I've just started The Mask of the Red Death as an audiobook. It's like 15 minutes long, so I think I'm going to finish that and maybe also listen to Cask of Amontillado while doing some laundry. And then I might move back out here onto the balcony, or I might just stay in, depending on how hot it is. I believe my chair has been requisitioned. So I have been forced to move over to the ottoman. I'm about to break for lunch, so the update is that I've made some more progress in Lovelace and Babbage. I'm now on page 102, and I finished Mask of the Red Death and Cask of Amontillado. I really enjoyed them. They're both sort of Renaissance Italian feeling. Cask of Amontillado definitely is set in Italy. I'm not sure if Mask of the Red Death is explicitly set in Italy, but it has that feel. And it is about a land where a horrible plague that makes you like bleed through all of your pores, turning you red, is laying waste to the peasantry. So the Lord gathers up all of his friends and they lock themselves, bolt the doors, weld them shut, in a fabulous castle where they have like a month-long party, and then he gets his comeuppance, as you would expect. And Cask of Amontillado is about a man taking revenge on his friend, all with a smile on his face. I think they're supposed to be scary, but they're so camp and sort of expected that I'm not scared. I mainly just think they're fun. So it is now a little after 5 o'clock. I have gotten my rocking chair back and I finished 3 more things, which means I completed one of the challenges to read 5 books on the first day. Pretty good. I got through the audiobooks of Telltale Heart and Fall of the House of Usher. Telltale Heart, like, I already knew the ending because I've read it before, so it wasn't that great for me, I think, because it didn't have the suspense and the wah at the end. And then The Fall of the House of Usher was not my favorite. It was about an hour long. The other ones were around 15 minutes. And it was sort of slow and depressing and focused on being buried alive, which I know is a big fear of Poe's. But it's not really a big fear for me. I mean, I'd rather it didn't happen, but I think there's many worse ways to die. So, you know, if you're not really interested in the crux of the story, then... And then I also finished The Thrilling Adventures of Lovelace and Babbage rather sooner than I thought I would, because it ends on page, like, 251 is the last comic panel. And then 257 is the end of the footnotes. And then the rest was all appendices, which I'm interested in reading at some point, but not right now, because Cramthan, guys. I gave this a 4 out of 5. I thought it was really well done. Sydney Padua did a lot of interesting things. For example, the lettering, you can see Queen Victoria speaks in like a Gothic script. And then when there's sort of important words, they get illustrated or elaborated as they deserve. There's also a lot of footnotes which sometimes get interacted with. It's more of an episodic narrative than one overarching story. And although I thought that basically everything about it was well done, it didn't have like a super wow factor for me, so I gave it 4 out of 5 rather than 5 out of 5. So I would definitely recommend this if you have an interest at all in the history of computers, in speculative alternate universe possibilities, or in Victorian history, because we do get some cameos from George Eliot and Charles Dickens. I really enjoyed that part, although as a costume historian I do have to briefly mention that there is one or a couple of panels where Ada is wearing a corset, and the corset does look to be drawn like a proper 1840s corded corset, but she's not wearing anything under it, which is just like the grossest thing, because you can't wash a corset, and so all your sweat is just going into it, and you need to wear something else, please. Ugh. My personal problems aside, I've now started The Murders in the Rue Morgue, which is my last Poe, and it's a bit longer. It's like a proper novella length. It's about an hour-and-a-half audiobook. So I can probably still finish it this evening, unless I get really into the short stories that I'm about to start. I'm beginning with The Horrid Glory of Its Wings by Elizabeth Bear, because I'm just going alphabetically by author. Wardrobe change. So it is now Sunday, day 2 of the Cramthan. Last night I read The Horrid Glory of Its Wings by Elizabeth Bear, and then this morning I finished Murders in the Rue Morgue by Edgar Allan Poe. Which means so far I have read 8 things. I've gone from being 23 books behind schedule to 15 books behind schedule. Which is good, because I don't think I'm going to get as much reading done today, for 2 reasons. One, David wants to go watch the football, and France is playing, and I don't know why, but I feel like I'm supposed to root for France. I'm a French major. And also, I have, like, a secret project that I'm working on. It feels weird to call it that, because a bunch of other people are actually working on it with me, but none of them are booktubers. You will find out about it in due time. Due time is like September, October. But anyway, Horrid Glory of Its Wings, I didn't find great. I gave it 2 stars. I felt like there wasn't enough stuff, and you're like, Libby, it's a short story. Of course it's short, and there's fewer words. I know, but I feel like in the space of a short story, you have time to really do something interesting with either character, plot, or atmosphere. Not and only really one of those. And this one was doing character, and I think that is my least favorite of the options. I felt like, okay, we have this interesting young lady, now do something with that, please. Do anything with it, because it's 15 pages long. And then Murders in the Rue Morgue, I didn't super enjoy either. I think I gave it a 3, but I might be changing that to a 2. This is more of a mystery story than Poe's usual horror style. And this sort of analytical mystery story was sort of the precursor, the prototype for Sherlock Holmes and Agatha Christie's detectives. It's got the very long sections of dialogue where our brilliant detective Dupin sort of explains what all of the evidence is and then how the murder occurred. The actual murders, there's 2, themselves, like the murder mystery, was fine. My main problem with it, though, was that the characters were clearly just a vehicle for this murder mystery to be told. Like Sherlock and Watson, I feel like are real characters with personalities and friends and families and opium addictions and all of those important things. But Dupin and Dupin's friend who's writing the story, does he have a name? If he did, I forgot. Are just total pieces of cardboard. And then this is a problem that I found with both mystery and horror novels, which is that the ending is too abrupt. Like, we figure out how the murder occurred, and then there's like 1 paragraph, and then it just stops. So I guess I'm glad I read it for historical edification, but it's definitely not one that I'm going to be rereading. So now I've gone through all of my Poe audiobooks, so if I need to listen to anything else today, I'm probably going to go back to the audiobook I had been listening to before, which was Under Major Domo Minor by Patrick DeWitt. I'm like a quarter of the way through, and it's, you know, a full-length 10 or so hour audiobook, so I'm probably not going to finish it during the Cramthan, but maybe. Oh, I also read Brimstone and Marmalade. Forgot about that. This is by Erin Corwin. It's another of the Tor.com short stories. I gave this one a 3 because I thought it was doing something interesting. It's about a little girl who wants a pony for her birthday, but her parents get her a demon instead, and she really doesn't want a demon. And it's about, you know, personal growth and coming of age, and I pretty much knew how it was going to end, so, you know, points for doing something different, not points for originality of plot structure. And then the next tour short story that I'm going to do is Men Who Wish to Drown by Elizabeth Fama. Hey guys, so the light is fading, but I fortunately have a light out here on the balcony. Unfortunately, that means mega glare. So we went to a sports bar to see the football game, and it was boring. I was so bored I couldn't even stay through the extra time. And then I read Men Who Wish to Drown, and I've now started on Some Gods of El Paso. Men Who Wish to Drown I thought was fine, and Some Gods of El Paso, I'm not getting it so far. Have I liked any of the Tour.com short stories I've read this round? I feel like they're letting me down. So when I finish Gods of El Paso, I'm probably going to move on to Schrodinger's Gun, because that's the last, like, proper short story that's equivalent to, like, 10 to 20 pages. The other two that I was planning to read are longer novelettes, so I might save those for tomorrow. Hey guys, it's day 3, penultimate day of the Cramthan, and we're out here on the balcony again. I didn't think it would happen this much, but it's actually been a really nice weekend out here. So today I've gotten through 2 short stories, as well as made a little more progress on Under Majordomo Minor. It's about 5 o'clock right now, so I can probably get something else read. But I read Some Gods of El Paso and Schrodinger's Gun. So, Some Gods of El Paso I ended up not giving a rating to because it was too smart for me and I didn't get it. I wasn't, like, we went into some weird magical realism places with this short story, and I wasn't sure if, like, they were gods who were dealing in emotions, or if they were sex workers / drug dealers who, like, and it was all a metaphor with the emotions. I was really confused on that. And then Schrodinger's Gun had a pretty interesting premise. It's set in Prohibition-era Chicago, what with all the crime and mobsters, gangsters. Mobsters are part of the mafia, right? I think so. And it's about a policewoman who has had a thing implanted in her brain that allows her to see all possible iterations of the universe, a la Schrodinger and superposition and all of that stuff. And I don't totally think that the author got the premise of Schrodinger's cat right. This isn't something I'm 100% confident on myself, but I think a little more research may have been needed. It was interesting. I wish there had been more. I think this could have been a fun novel. And unfortunately the end was relatively predictable. But I gave that one a 3. And then I had also had on my list to read The Museum and the Music Box. When I went to go open this from its Goodreads page, I saw that it had like a really low rating. It was like a 3.4 or something. And considering that I haven't super enjoyed any of them, have I liked any of them? Have any of them broken 4 stars? But I decided I didn't want to spend my time with another not good short story. So tomorrow it's going to be Waters of Versailles and The Pauper Prince and the Eucalyptus Gin, the 2 longer ones in my tour list. Hey guys, so we've moved inside for the last update of the Cramthan. There was actually a tree being felled outside my condo, so I definitely couldn't read outside, and as it turns out I couldn't really read inside, so I only got through Waters of Versailles today. But it was molto mi piace. So this is set in, surprise, Versailles during the reign of Louis XV, I think during the 1740s, based on who the king's mistress is. And this is actually like what I got my degree in. I majored in French and I had a sort of unofficial concentration in early modern court culture. So that definitely made me appreciate how well rendered the sort of atmosphere, lifestyle, what's the word that I want? The general vibes of Versailles. Unfortunately, it also means that I noticed some historical inaccuracies. Just so you know, women did not wear full wigs. They wore hair pieces with their natural hair sort of ranged about them. So this is a fantasy novella about a man named Sylvain. I'm not sure if he is a real person or not, but he was sort of in charge of running the waterworks at Versailles. He restored the fountains. When the fountains were originally built by Louis XIV, they didn't have enough water pressure in order to have all of the fountains in the garden going at the same time. So he would, when the king wanted to show off his fabulous gardens, it was very carefully orchestrated so that whenever they walked past one fountain, that one would be flowing, and then as they moved past it onto another, that one would die, and then the new one would start. Louis XIV, evil genius, I'm telling you. By Louis XV, at least in this story, I'm not sure if that's actually accurate, all of the fountains were able to be run at once. He's also installing the first flush toilets, which I know was a thing. Versailles had some of the first modern flush toilets. And in this story, Sylvain is able to do this because he has like a pet mermaid. I'm not sure if she's actually a mermaid, but she's definitely a little girl who lives in the cistern and is able to control water and like direct it. But Versailles was like a really shitty place to live, and there's pretty much no way of winning. The only way to win is to not play the game, as Sylvain eventually decides. I highly, highly recommend it, and I'm so glad that I was able to find at least one 5-star thing for the Cramthan. So to wrap up my Cramthan experience, I read 12 things. I started off the readathon 23 books behind schedule. I'm now only 11 books behind schedule. Hopefully during the booktubeathon I can get that down into single digits. So really glad that I did this, and I will see you guys in a new video very soon.